everyone, welcome to Saturday, Vlogtober day 27. I have just been having a very relaxing day. I slept in until past noon. It was fantastic. Usually on Saturdays I let myself sleep in, but not super late because I don't want to throw myself off the rest of the week. But every now and then I like to give myself as much sleep as my body wants. So I had an alarm set for 9:15. I woke up at about 8 to go to the bathroom and just was like, I want more than just one more hour of sleep. So I reset my alarm for 10:15, and then when that went off, I turned it off and then just kind of laid there and fell back to sleep again. So, you know, I needed it. It's been a busy week. It's been a busy few weeks. It's been a bit exhausting. I've been more tired, and it's just that time of the month where everything's just going crazy and I just need extra rest. So I made myself a nice brunch. I did scrambled eggs and some sausage and some tater tots and some toast, and it was all very delicious. Made some coffee, which was really nice. Decaf, obviously, for me, but still, I just can't seem to start my day without coffee. Got my video uploaded for the day. I've updated my operating system on my Mac. Fingers crossed. It seems like it worked fine, so now I just have to kind of figure out all the new features and all that stuff. I've been watching a documentary series on HBO On Demand, doing laundry, and now I'm gonna tint my brows because they need it. And so I thought I would show you how I tint my brows. I use the Eylure Dybrow Kit in the shade dark brown. Overall, I really like it. This is the second pack that I've owned. I just bought a new one because my last one kind of I've had it for too long. Even though there was still fluid in the activator bottle, I had run out of the cream, so it was just time for a new one. So it comes with a little bottle of the activator, a tube of the color cream, you get a little brow wand, and a little thing to like stir and mix it with, and then your instructions. It all comes in this little tray, and then there's this little dip in the tray that you can use that I've just always used to mix up my color. You could use a separate little pot if you have one, but I've just found that this is actually really easy to then just take some tissue paper or some Kleenex and just wipe this out, and then it's reusable for next time. So the first thing I do is brush through my brows and make sure that they are kind of just generally going in the right direction and that none of the hairs are like mashed up against each other. Like, not that your brow hairs get tangled, but it's kind of like still good to brush through them, I think. So then I take the cream brow color. Obviously, if you're gonna do this yourself, read through their instructions, carry out the patch test, all of that stuff. Don't just follow my instructions. But I wanted to show you how once you've done that, it is actually really easy to use. So when you first get it, your tube will be sealed. There's a little puncture thing in the tip of the lid, so you just do that. It starts coming out almost immediately. So don't be squeezing the tube when you're puncturing the top. So then you put, it says 1 centimeter of the cream color. So you just kind of push it out or squeeze it until you have about 1 centimeter. I mean, I'm totally eyeballing it. I never take a ruler or anything like that. Close that back up. And then to your 1 centimeter, you take the activator and put in 3 drops. Now this bottle is a bit finicky, so you do want to be careful to make sure that you get your 3. In the past, if I've noticed that it's ended up being more than 3, I just squeeze in a little bit more of the cream color because you just want it to be the right consistency, and then I mix it up. And like, this still doesn't look like I put in quite enough of the cream, so I'm just going to put in more of the cream. I'm putting in kind of another like sometimes it'll start coming out in more of a blob than a line. I just kind of make it work. Basically what you want for the activator to get mixed in with the cream color and for everything to be well blended and mixed together so that you have more of a liquidy paste. So like, it's really hard to show you probably what that looks like, but it doesn't look like much, that's for sure. I'm gonna wipe this off. Now, if you're really worried about coloring your skin, you can take like some Vaseline or petroleum jelly and line the skin around your eyebrows. I did that the first few times and then just kind of stopped. To apply it, I use an old, this is an old e.l.f. concealer brush, so it's just a nice small size. But I find that this, using this to apply, I think is really messy. So this lets me get the color onto my eyebrows and control how much gets onto my skin. And so that's why I don't do the lining it with petroleum jelly or Vaseline or anything like that. So I just take some onto the brush and start brushing it onto my brows. And I don't really drag it through, I just kind of tap it onto my brow. I definitely concentrate more of the dye on the front end, the kind of center ends of my brows, because that's where I want to make sure the dye really gets concentrated. Those are the kind of the brow hairs that I want to make sure get dyed the most and the darkest. And then I just start dragging it down the rest of the brow. So it'll kind of look like a mess at that point. And I will take a little Q-tip and just run it along the top and along the bottom to wipe the dye off of my skin that has kind of made it onto the skin area. And then I go in to the other eyebrow. Okay, so there are both brows done. I'm now gonna just wipe off my brush, and then I also take the tissue and wipe out whatever is left in the bowl, just so that that gets clean. And then I just pack everything back into the little plastic tray so that it's all ready for next time. Pack up the instructions, because I never get rid of the instructions just in case I need to refresh myself on them, and then I just pack everything back into the box. So the instructions say to leave it on for no more than 5 minutes. I've left it on for a little bit longer than 5 minutes, so I'm gonna go and mess with my computer and just see how the update has gone, and then I will come back in about probably 5 minutes from now, because I've been talking for a few minutes, and we'll show you what it's like to take it off and then what the after is like. Okay, I'm back. It is now time to remove the dye. So I just take a couple tissues and I kind of fold it into a square. I've got to move you forward because you're over my sink. And I need some water. So I just kind of get a little bit of one side of the tissue wet, because you want some wet to help you get it off and then some dry to dry it. So I just kind of working around the corners, will take one of the wet corners and start wiping it off. And then I just kind of keep rotating it. You will get it onto your skin, but at this point it's okay. Like, you'll just wipe it off, it won't stain it. You just wouldn't want to leave it on your skin like that. So don't be worried. So I just kind of move the tissue around so that I can make sure that I'm getting all of it off. And it seems like I have. So now my last thing then would be to kind of take a corner that's dry, it's not wet, and doesn't have any of the dye I've wiped off, and wipe it over and it's coming up clean. So that one's good. Now I'm going to take the other tissue. I'm just going to keep wiping it off until I feel like I've got everything. So I think I still need to, I think there's still a little bit on there. All clean. Okay, so as you can see, let me just give them another good brush. So I think they are definitely darker. Are they as dark as my hair? No. So that's my one complaint. I kind of feel like I would be better off buying the set in black and mixing some of the black dye with some of the dark brown, because I don't feel like the dark brown is dark enough for my hair color. But what I've noticed, because my brows just, I don't know if they don't hold dye or if they just grow out really quickly, but whenever I get them professionally tinted, it doesn't last more than a couple weeks anyway. So I like being able to dye them at home because I can do it every couple weeks. As soon as they start to get really blonde again, I can dye them. And if I wanted to, if I really just didn't have time to deal with makeup, I could go out with my brows like this and wouldn't feel like they're that mismatched from my hair color. But I can also easily darken them just a tiny bit more with a pencil or with my brow palette. When my brows are dyed, I go in with the lighter side of the dark palette. It makes my brow routine much faster and makes me more comfortable to go out without anything if I wanted to. This just makes them, they definitely stand out a lot more than they did before I tinted them. They are much darker, and they don't look as mismatched. So even though I can get them darker by adding makeup, this still is, I think, a perfectly natural look, especially now that I'm starting to do balayage and I've got lighter tones in my hair, so I don't feel like they've got to be super dark anymore. So that is how I dye my brows. I hope this was helpful. If you've thought about using the Eylure Dybrow Kit and you weren't sure, I know there are other videos on here on YouTube. You can check out other people's experience with them. Whenever I'm debating a product like that, I will always watch at least 3 to 5 videos, if not more than that, before I make my decision. So definitely check out other people's tutorials. But yeah, I've just found that it's really easy. It's like I think it was $11.95 for the box, and it says it's supposed to last up to 12 applications. I don't think I've ever gotten 12. But like, even if it only gives me 6 applications, that's still $2 per application. Compare that to $15 to have my brows professionally tinted by the person that I go to. It's a significant cost savings, so it's definitely worth it to me. So I am going to get back to my relaxing Saturday, and I will show you what I get up to the rest of the evening, but it's probably not going to be much.